that alright? Is that okay if I stand back a bit? Might be too quiet. Stop the car. Make sure no one, I'm in like a weird dodgy area of Reading and I don't want anyone getting in whilst filming. Anyway, it was dodgy enough kind of leaving the camera here and driving off. Anyway, hello, welcome to the video. So today it's just gonna be me and you kind of talking, no real driving around stuff. I just want to do a one-on-one with the camera. There's a security guy coming. I don't think I'm allowed to film here. Hi there. Is it right if I film a video? There's nothing in the background, I'm just talking. Yeah, okay, that's right, cheers, thanks. Cool security guy, thank you very much. Also, brought a friend along. So today, well actually yesterday, the brand new 2 Series was announced. You guys can obviously tell from the title of the video what it's about. And I wanted to just basically give you my first impressions coming from a 2 Series owner. So this is my M2 competition. I've had it for about a year. If you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, the usual. And I'm basically just gonna give you my first impression. So the car was launched all over social media, obviously pre Festival of Speed at Goodwood, which is today. So obviously they wanted to kind of get the news out there so that people going to Festival of Speed at Goodwood are able to kind of see it in person. Right off the bat, people weren't a fan of the new 2 Series. All over social media you were basically seeing the M240i, which is the B58 engine, the same engine that was in my M140i that I used to own, so I'm very, very familiar with that. That's got the ZF gearbox, I'm very used to that whole platform, and so it's kind of interesting to see that they've stuck the same engine back in a new G Series 2 Series. And they haven't really like put a new engine in, but the B58 is a great engine, right? So it's not, people haven't really been a fan of the car. From the press pictures, the front's kind of ugly, the side looks really, really bland, the back is really ugly, kind of with the shorter headlights, and the square exhaust pipes are ugly. Now that makes sense because that's kind of when the new 4 Series and the new 3 Series was announced. The 40i model has the square exhaust tips. So you can kind of see the design language that BMW are going with, and you can see the stages of what they're doing. Kind of makes sense, but this is kind of a good idea for me and a lot of the other 2 Series owners to just kind of see the direction that the 2 Series is going to head in when the new M2 comes out. So the stats is the M240i, which is kind of the one we're focusing on, right? Because it's kind of giving us an indication of what the new M2 is going to be like. That's 4-wheel drive, B58 engine, 375 brake horsepower. In my M140, that was 340 brake horsepower. So obviously that car is very, very capable. You see different kind of horsepowers in the 3 Series and the 4 Series, but it's the same engine. So they've obviously got a different tune on it. And 0 to 60 is about 4.3 seconds. Now, the really interesting thing from that is my M140, even though it had the B58, being rear-wheel drive and having no LSD, limited slip diff, when I kind of planted my foot down all the time, it would just kind of wiggle at the back. So this is from the get-go, from the traffic lights, right? So it's really interesting to see that now with an all-wheel drive system, that M240 is going to be rapid off the line. The good news is that the M2, the newer incoming M2, will be rear-wheel drive. That's for us purists. Perfect. Now, so as I said yesterday, I wasn't too sure on the styling, but my good friend M2 Dan is at Goodwood today, and he sent me a load of photos, and I'll slap it all over in front of you right now. Actually, in person, when you see, not press pictures, when you see real people stood next to the car, actually it's starting to look a little bit alright. The more I look at it, the front looks really good. The back, I'm kind of starting to grow in towards. I'm still not really sure on the back, but it's starting to grow on me. And this is kind of the same thing that we saw with the M3 and the M4 when they released. Everyone hated it. I myself wasn't a fan of the buck teeth grille, but now seeing, and I've actually seen an M3 and M4 in person, it looks great. It looks really aggressive. I really, really like it. So I know that the 2 Series will grow on me over time, and seeing the photos courtesy of Dan, they look fantastic. It looks a lot better. So I know that in no time eventually when we see them around on the roads, it'll be fine. One really interesting thing though is the more that I look at the car, especially the interior, it's the same as the 1 Series interior, which isn't really enough to persuade me sort of thing. When I drove the M4, the G82 M4 competition, when I got back in the M2, the interior looked really dated. The leather's not as nice, but that's an M4. That's a 4 Series where you're kind of getting a lot of money. It's quite expensive, so you're kind of getting a lot of value from like the materials, etc. This is a budget 2 Series. It's not going to be the same. But anyway, my point is, when I got into the M2, it looked dated, and looking at the brand new 2 Series that's come out, the more I look at it and the more kind of train my brain and my eyes to kind of see this new BMW styling, when I look back at this, it looks a little bit dated. And the same can kind of be said if you take the 718 Cayman GT4 and compare it with the 981. I'm sure that when the 981 came out, it was amazing. It looked really awesome. But when the 718's now come out, and now looking back at a 981, it looks dated. It's the same thing with the E90 M3. The G Series M3 hasn't been out for long enough for me to kind of train my head. I don't know, it kind of does. You kind of get the point that I'm coming towards. The more you kind of see these cars driving around, the new A-Class, when you see an old one, to me personally anyway, it looks dated. It's a previous generation. I don't know, so that I don't really want that to kind of put that off my car. But it's a great car, so I probably won't. And this BMW absolutely nailed on the head. Design-wise, it looks fantastic. The colour is amazing, so I think I'm going to love this for many and many years to come anyway. So I've talked a lot about the styling. I've got the notes here on my phone. The colour, purple. I looked in the configurator. There aren't really many colours there. There's kind of a couple whites, a red, the blue that you've got on the new 3 Series, and then you've got just a brand new purple. And there isn't really much to play with. Being an M240i, I guess again it's back to it being a 2 Series. You're not going to really be offering a lot of colours. If you want like individual colours and a more wide range of colours, go up to a bloody 8 Series or something. But it was just a bit boring, I thought. But the purple is really nice, and the tech in it's going to be really good. That massive black thing in the grille, on the bottom grille, it's probably the autopilot, so it's going to be amazing to drive. It's going to be really comfortable. It's got the ZF gearbox, which is going to be really comfortable, versus this, which is very clunky to drive. It's not a great daily. I daily it, I live with it, it's perfectly fine, but I imagine a lot of people, and I'm crossing the idea between an M2 and an M240 here, but I imagine a lot of people daily driving an M2, the brand new M2, are going to kind of want a little bit more maybe comfort to it. The annoying thing as well is that it's longer and bigger. So the idea of why we created the 2 Series was because we wanted a smaller, more nimble car, and this is pretty heavy already. They made it bigger and wider, and we're just going to end up with another 1M. We're just going to create a 0 Series. One thing that's very cool is the boot of the new 2 Series on the 240i has like a ducktail spoiler. It looks like the CSL. That's going to be really cool. I really like that, and that's going to be really cool when eventually companies like Auto ID develop carbon boot lids to stick on those, and it's going to be mega aggressive with like a CS style or something. It's going to look on point. But I realise I've rambled on for quite a long time, almost 10 minutes now this video is. I want to close off with the one main thing that is kind of annoying, and that's the price. This car, the M240i, without options, is £46,000. And after you spec it up and you kind of choose little choose a few packs and colours, and I was playing around the configurator, I managed to get up to £56,000. £56,000 for an M240i means that when the M2 comes out, you're going to be looking at 65 grand. The M3, M4 is already about 80 spec'd up. So you're going to be looking at 60 to 70 grand. That's very expensive for what is essentially kind of the lower end budget M car. You're looking at A45S prices, and that really puts me off. Now, the good thing about BMWs versus other manufacturers like Porsche is that you always get discount. Never really, if you can, don't buy a car when it just releases, because the manufacturer is less likely to kind of give you discount. When a product is coming to kind of the end of the life cycle, like the M2, they were giving £500 a month deposit, £500 a month PCP finance, £500 year £500 deposit, you get the point. And so everyone was buying M2s because it was coming to the end of the life cycle. And so if you can, I wouldn't buy a brand new model right when they release, because they're not going to be giving any discounts, etc. So a lot of people will be paying that 70 grand for the M2. BMW might give you a little bit of a discount, but it's just a lot of money in my opinion. And I think that I've got 3 years left on the PCP here. I have basically got to decide whether I keep this car, I maybe swap it for the brand new M2, or I go look somewhere else. And for that price, it's very hard to justify refinancing this, or however or maybe buying it out in cash or whatever. Is going to be very, very cheap for me, and it's a fantastic car, versus throwing another 5 grand or whatever deposit into a brand new G Series M2, a G87. Is it going to be better? It probably will be, but this is also a fantastic car. So yeah, it's very expensive. If the same finance quotes, if I were able to get the same deal on the brand new G87 M2 as this, I would swap, and yeah, I'd upgrade. Because it'd be a better car and I'll get the same finance deal, so it's perfect. But it's not. It's going to be more expensive and it's going to be more money. So it's going to be very hard for me to kind of upgrade, to just go to another M2 when I've already got an M2 that's great. It's very, very tough. So I'd either probably look at keeping this. I mean, who knows? We'll have to wait till the M2 comes out and I'll probably do another little video, but maybe get a Lotus Emira. Now they have got everybody talking. 60 grand starting price. We still don't know enough about it for a mid-engined, basically supercar. It looks like a supercar, but it's sports car price. V6. Yeah, that would be or Porsche. Probably a Cayman GT4 if I ever get one, but that would be mega money. So I've rambled on for a little bit. These are my thoughts on the brand new 2 Series. I've talked a lot about the M240i, mostly focusing on that because, you know, this is a car channel, a petrol head channel, and I've kind of mixed a lot of M2, future M2 versus this M2, M240i versus, yeah. I want to close off with saying the brand new 2 Series is a very nice car as a 220D. I never thought that the standard 2 Series looked that aggressive, and then when they did the 240i, they just put a big engine in it. But you can tell that they've put a lot of thought into the M240i. It looks a bit more aggressive from the photos, and so a person who's not a petrol head and goes and buys a 220D is getting a very, very nice car for styling, and maybe not the back end, but for the money that they're paying. So I've rambled. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like it, subscribe, the usual. We've got some cool videos lined up. I'm gonna shut up now. I'm really dragging it on. Goodbye. Oh, actually, here's a little startup. Come on, let's have a look. Right, let's end the video on a high. I've been rambling for a long time. Gonna give you guys a treat. The usual Sport Plus startup. It wasn't always going to be the same kind of level of startup as we normally get when it's cold. Anyway, goodbye. See you later.